Being single has its perks. For example, you don't have to share the last piece of pizza, and you have the whole bed to yourself at night, and nobody steals the covers. It can be a nice feeling too. But then there are also some things that are not so nice about being single. Like it sometimes feels nice to have someone to share a bed with you. Oh, and you don't have to worry that you smell different from your friends who are in relationships. Yes, you heard that right. Studies have shown that single people often smell different from people who are in relationships. I know that sounds crazy, but that's been proven. And in this video, we are going to be learning all about how and why single people smell different. Before we get into it though, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Also, smash that like button because you know that this video is going to be awesome. All done? Well, let's get to it then. Now, we all know that different people have different smells. In fact, our sense of smell is so strong that it can tell the difference between two different people just by how they smell alone. Now, this is often as a result of perfumes or deodorants that people wear. Over time, we tend to associate different people with the perfumes that they wear. But apart from perfumes and deodorants, different things like genes and activity levels can also play a role in how people smell. For example, someone who is more physically active is more likely to have a strong and musky scent when compared to someone who is not so physically active. That's why it is advised that you take a shower after hitting the gym, to get rid of the strong musky scent so people don't hold their breaths when you walk by. Just like physically active people smell different from physically inactive people, studies have shown that single people smell different from people in a relationship. And no, this isn't because they stink of loneliness. It has to do more with the body's production of testosterone. As we all learned in science class, testosterone is the male hormone, but women also produce testosterone in smaller amounts. Science class has also taught us that testosterone has been linked to body odor, and that higher levels of testosterone increase the chances of body odor. Of course, other factors like personal hygiene play a role in how we smell, but we'll get to that later on. As we said, higher testosterone levels have been linked to body odor, but what you probably didn't know is that research has found that single men generally have a higher level of testosterone than men who have partners. Of course, this doesn't apply in all situations, but it works in most situations. Now, we have to wonder why single men have higher testosterone. Is it because they feel despair because they're lonely? Is it because the dating pool these days is such a mess that they feel stressed? Well, there are several ways that we can explain it. In a 2010 study, researchers Anders and Goldley found out that men experience endocrine changes when they are in a relationship versus when they are as single as Pringle. This means that the hormonal function in single men is different. This makes a lot of sense, because other researchers have found out that people who have strong bonds with their friends, family, and partners often experience a higher rush of feel-good hormones than people without these strong bonds. So what this means is that people in relationships are so in love that their bodies just tend to produce less testosterone compared to single people. So not only are they single Pringles, but they also tend to stink more. That's just sad on so many levels. Of course, this isn't just speculation from researchers because studies have been carried out. One of such studies is an experiment that took place at Macquarie University in Australia. This experiment is popularly known as the sweaty t-shirt study, and this should give you a fair idea of what it was about. Different men were given a t-shirt to wear for 2 days so the t-shirts could get really, really sweaty. Then they returned the t-shirts to the researchers, who then had a bunch of women sniff the sweaty t-shirts. If you think that this sounds nasty, well, it probably was. But then science is full of nasty stuff that's way worse than this. Now, after sniffing the stinky shirts, the women had to rate the smell on how much they found the smells attractive. They were also given 6 t-shirts and asked to pick which shirts belonged to single men and which shirts belonged to partnered men. You may think that this is impossible because you think that there is no way to tell by smell alone if a shirt belongs to a single man. Well, you'd be wrong because most of the women correctly managed to identify which shirts belonged to the single men and which belonged to taken men. How crazy is that? Well, the truth behind this isn't so crazy because, as we said earlier, single men tend to be stinkier because of their higher testosterone levels. In fact, not only did the women accurately pick out the shirts that belonged to the single men, but they also rated single men as having more masculine faces than partnered men. If you think this is crazy, well, it is. Some researchers have theorized that this insane phenomenon is because of sexual selection and mating, where nature plays a role in making women think that single men are more attractive. Hey, nature is the trickiest of all, and that's a known fact. But interestingly, high testosterone levels are not the only reason that single men smell different. Another major reason is personal hygiene. Now, no shame to men, but we all know that there are a lot of men that need to be given a push to take care of their personal hygiene. In fact, it has been proven over and over again that single men have a lower tendency to seek medical care, including health checkups. Of course, we all know that our health is a large contributor to how we smell. Then, as we said earlier, many men have to be given a huge push to take their physical hygiene seriously. But the thing is, single men rarely have anyone to give them this push. And, well, they don't care enough to do it themselves. Of course, they'll probably clean up once in a while, or if they have a special girl coming over, but most times they don't bother to do that much. Sure, they'll have a shower and probably shampoo once in a while, but that's just about it. There's none of the deep cleaning and scrubbing that helps to keep the bad smell away, and over time, this contributes to how they smell. This is also why men who have excellent personal hygiene are often believed to be in a relationship. When we see a man who engages in skincare and takes a lot of time and puts in a lot of effort to maintain his hygiene, we often assume that he is in a relationship and that his partner is responsible for teaching him hygiene. That sounds sad, but it's true. Now, this may seem bad enough, but it kind of gets worse. When you combine the lack of hygiene with the fact that single men naturally produce a lot of testosterone, well, what you will get is a really stinky man. Really, all you have to do is take a good sniff to tell if a man is single. But this doesn't mean that you should go around sniffing every man that you find attractive, because that is just super creepy. So ladies, next time you're planning on shooting your shot at that cute guy at the bar, make sure to take a whiff of his scent first, and if he is really smelly, then there's a chance that he might be single. Just make sure that your first trip is to a store so you can get him some deodorant, because nobody wants to hang out with a stinker. Also, if you're lucky, he'll be so in love with you that his testosterone levels will drop enough for him to be less stinky. This doesn't mean that all single men are really stinky, but according to research, single men tend to be stinkier. So next time you hit the bar, you can use this new information to test the waters. You're welcome. Since you loved this video so much, make sure to give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button below. Also, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss future uploads.